So Tana Mongeau is a pretty controversial YouTuber, and she's been that way ever since she pretty much started on YouTube. She's been posting on here for a while. Her biggest controversy, just to give you guys a bit of backstory if you don't know who she is a storytime YouTuber, and she ended up posting a rant that was over an hour long about VidCon. That led to her eventually getting banned from VidCon, and she decided to make an alternative, TanaCon. Now, TanaCon was really rushed, and they spent 40 days planning it. It's basically the Fire Festival of YouTube, and it's considered a really big failure because it was. A lot of people were out there getting dehydrated. A lot of people were sunburnt. They were out in the sun for hours. People stood in line for 6 hours and still couldn't get in. And it was just an all around mess. One person who did get in, however, was iDubbbz, and the thing about storytime YouTubers is that oftentimes they're criticized for over exaggerating their stories, which sometimes they kind of have to just to make their stories more interesting because that's what people are looking on to watch it. But I digress. Hopefully, that's the right meaning of the word, right use. Um, so she ended up exaggerating a story about iDubbbz, which led to him dropping a content cop on her, which brought down a bunch of hate towards her. And yeah, so that pretty much wraps up the biggest stuff been in. And this now she's even more with her podcast. So back when frenemies broke up because of Trisha Paytas and Ethan Klein's feud, there was a pretty big void because a lot of people really enjoyed that show. Well, Tana Mongeau stopped posting on her main channel and repurposed her second channel to act as a podcast called Cancelled. Now, she had a co-host on there named Brooke Schofield. Now, her and Tana really bounced off each other really well, and it got really well received with the people who watched the podcast, and because they came over from frenemies, so they really enjoyed that two-person vibe between them. And what ended up happening was, after months and months of them posting every Monday, they stopped posting. And as of now, their last podcast is Planning TanaCon 2 with Tim Dillon, which came out a month ago. And you can see in the comments of people just asking, hey, where's the new pod? Where's the new podcast episode? Stuff like that. And they pretty much ended up getting pestered so much on social media because people really enjoyed this podcast, and Brooke Schofield came out and responded and talked about it. Now, basically, she said that there were a bunch of external factors. That's how I interpreted it mostly. And Tana Mongeau came out and said that she was pretty much the same thing that Brooke said, that there were rumors outside, things working on outside of their control, and that's why they hadn't posted in a while, but they would love to. And I was watching Spindle's video to do a little bit of research on the subject before I started talking about it, and she made a really good point. Maybe she's a she, just judging by their voice. She said that it seems like they were almost angry that people enjoyed their show, and I think part of that comes from like the pestering, right? Because when you really enjoy a show and you have a way to reach these people, you're gonna reach out and say, hey, we want this show. And on one level, it's really great that your fans want your show so bad that they're gonna go, hey, where's our show? Where's our show? Where's our show? Come on. But at that same time, it can get you really burnt out and really turn you off towards fans. But another thing I want to talk about is, from what I've seen on the internet and what other people have said about Tana, she's more this sort of like Conor McGregor type of I come when I want, I do what I want, but in a different way. This sort of energy and reputation around her, and it's led to her just not being able to complete a lot of projects. And this seems like another example, and people seem to be surprised by this, right? It's like if you throw a rock at a wasp's nest, right? And then you get surprised that the wasps are chasing you. Like after you saw somebody else do that exact same thing, right? That you shouldn't be getting surprised by that, right? But they did come out and say that they're gonna. Brooke Schofield said that she they set up recording days, so I hope that they can get their podcast back up and going because clearly people enjoy it and people want to see it, and I honestly enjoy people being able to be successful and reach their potential. But you know who else loves to reach their potential? Today's sponsor. I don't have a sponsor. But what I do have is a podcast that will be consistent. Definitely, because we definitely can record because we live a lot closer together than Brooke and Tana do. That was a really clanky, shameless plug right there. But back to the Tana stuff. I really hope they can get this entire thing figured out because it really sucks that it's gotten to this point. And I don't know what external factors there are, or maybe it is internal factors and they're lying. I don't know, but the information I have to go off of right now is that there are external factors, and I hope that those whatever factors they are get sorted out and things go back to normal, and this project can be fulfilled, right? Because I don't want anybody's project to be a failure. But this has been a long rant for me. So, well, it wasn't even a rant, it's more of a ramble, but that pretty much wraps it up. Thank you for watching. Bye.